Welcome to the Neurokrish Immersion. We are in the Many Faces of Freedom, Season 2. And in this episode, we discuss Swami Vivekananda, a soul who did not dissolve into silence nor melt into ecstasy, but who stood upright in strength. He was born in Kolkata, 1863, and followed a path of jnana and karma. Eventually, he became the founder of the Ramakrishna mission and died very young at 39 years of age. Narendranath Datta, as he was called, did not begin as a monk. He actually began as a skeptic. From his father, he learnt rational clarity and a sharp, questioning mind. From his mother, he imbibed mythic devotion and deep mythological reverence. And from his own innate abilities, excellence in philosophy, music, and debate. But beneath his brilliance was unrest. He started off by asking his question to Sri Ramakrishna, "Have you seen God?" It was not seeking a belief, it was seeking verification. And indeed, before he asked Sri Ramakrishna the question, he went from teacher to teacher asking this question. He would not surrender reason cheaply. Then came his encounter with Sri Ramakrishna, whose response was, "Yes, I see him more clearly than I see you." In response, Narendra resisted, tested, argued. Yet, when Sri Ramakrishna touched him, he felt the ground of identity tremble. The I he defended seemed less solid than he imagined. His path would therefore become something else. Unlike Ramana, he did not disappear into silence. Unlike Ramakrishna, he did not melt into ecstasy. Unlike Ramanuja, he did not build belonging through ritual alone. Vivekananda would stand upright in strength. Suffering at some point intervened. His father's sudden death plunged the family into poverty. Humiliation replaced comfort. Narendra walked Kolkata's streets seeking employment, the young philosopher now desperate. He found himself standing before Kali's temple. He went in intending to ask for money, but standing before the mother, something changed. 3 times he came up with the same answer. He found himself asking for discrimination, for devotion, for strength. 3 times he never asked for wealth. And this was the pivot. Not wealth, not comfort, discrimination, devotion, strength. Ramanuja had questioned Advaita by putting forward the 7 great untenables of Maya. Swami Vivekananda in his life began answering some of these questions, not by rejecting Advaita, but by expanding it. To the question, if the self dissolves, who loves? He answered by infusing devotion into action itself. If knowledge alone liberates, what of grace? His answer was by showing that strength is grace made manifest. If the world is illusion, what of responsibility? His answer, if all is Brahman, then service is not optional. After Ramakrishna's passing, Swami Vivekananda wandered India barefoot. He saw starvation. the body starved of bread and of dignity. He saw ritual without vitality, form without fire, practice without presence. He saw a civilization spiritually profound yet socially weakened, great heritage and a paralyzed present. In Alwar, when a westernized Maharaja mocked idol worship, Swami Vivekananda's response was typically pragmatic. He pointed to a portrait on the wall and asked the Diwan, the Maharaja's prime minister, to spit upon it. Horror followed. The Diwan refused to spit on the painting. "It's only paper," he said gently, "yet it represents someone." Pointing out, therefore, an idol is not stone. It's a focusing instrument for the mind. He defended tradition, therefore, not through dogma, but through psychology. He saw kings lacking humility, peasants lacking dignity, and he declared that to see God is to serve the poor. And here is where his reinterpretation of non-duality becomes clear. If all is Brahman, service is not optional. If the self is divine, degradation is a lie. If individuality is real enough to suffer, it is real enough to serve. Advaita, in his hands, did not negate difference. It dignified it. So when traditional Advaita says the world is Maya, an illusion, Vivekananda's response was the world is real enough to serve. When traditional Advaita says the individual self dissolves into Brahman, Vivekananda's response was divinity must manifest, not dissolve. When traditional Advaita says the difference is ultimately unreal, Vivekananda's response was the difference is dignified, not erased. When traditional Advaita says liberation is transcendence of the world, Vivekananda's Advaita was liberation is ignition, not withdrawal. At Kanyakumari, seated alone on a rock, surrounded by the ocean, he meditated for 3 days. He saw a civilization of spiritual greatness, ancient, profound, and luminous. This was India's past. He contemplated about the present, humiliation, paralysis, a people disconnected from their own strength. And then he saw a future, envisaged it, possibility, awakening, a nation waiting to be ignited. He did not see a world to be dismissed as illusion. He saw a nation to be awakened. Freedom for him would not be withdrawal, it would be ignition. He went to the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago, 1893, and began that famous speech with Sisters and Brothers of America. The applause thundered, not because he pleaded, but because he stood as equal. I am proud to belong to a religion which has taught the world both tolerance and universal acceptance, not toleration alone, acceptance. And he quoted the ancient hymn that defines the Hindu religion as different streams having their sources in different places, all mingle their waters in the sea. So, O Lord, the different paths which men take, all lead to Thee. Let me repeat that for us. As the different streams having their sources in different places, all mingle their waters in the sea, so, O Lord, the different paths which men take, all lead to Thee. This was not rigid Advaita. It was not Ramanuja's relational theology. It was a synthesis. The difference is acknowledged, but unity is affirmed. Responsibility remains intact. Where Ramanuja insisted the world is real and devotion was necessary, Vivekananda insisted that realization must manifest as strength. He famously declared, "Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest this divinity within by controlling nature, external and internal. Manifest, not dissolve. Control, not escape." When we compare Ramanuja and Vivekananda, Ramanuja feared the metaphysical erasure of devotion. Vivekananda infused devotion into action. Ramanuja emphasized belonging. Vivekananda emphasized capacity. Ramanuja emphasized the grace through relationship with God. Vivekananda, the grace through the strength to serve. Ramanuja said the world is real, devotion is necessary. Vivekananda declared realization must manifest as strength. When he returned to India in 1897, Bhaskara Setupati awaited him at Pamban. The Raja offered his own head for Vivekananda to step on in reverence. He declined and leapt ashore. Renunciation did not inflate into ego. Monks would serve, hospitals would rise, education would spread. That was his motto, and he founded the Ramakrishna mission. Renunciation became disciplined organization. Strength became service. He once said, "They alone live who live for others." He burned intensely, too intensely. He died at 39. His freedom was not the cooling of fire. It was the directing of fire. Now we look back across our arc. The Buddha cools the fire of craving. Shankara dissolves illusion through knowledge. Ramakrishna melts into divine love. Ramana abides in silent self-awareness. Ramanuja binds the soul in loving belonging. Vivekananda stands upright in strength. And these are the many phases of freedom that we have explored here at the Neurokrish Immersion. If you like what we do, please subscribe and share. We are on Apple, YouTube, and Spotify. Thank you so much.